If you look at any of my games, actually don't do that, you'll be extremely disappointed. But if you did, you see that all the combat in my games are extremely underwhelming. Either they're absolutely horrible, or they're what I like to call a one-hit wonder, where one hit happens and something wonderful happens. Now, I'm young, and I shouldn't have to worry about it. Until one day, I got myself a cup of coffee. Decaf coffee, but still. I thought to myself, hey, I should make a game with good combat. See, this is why kids shouldn't have coffee, even if it is decaf. So, along with quitting drinking decaf coffee, I dropped everything and got to work. I started off by using my incredible player model that I used in my previous video, and I had to re-rig the model in mix mode because I was dumb enough to delete the skeletal mesh the minute I was done making the video. But I also took a couple animations from it, like a walk animation, a couple attack animations, a hit react, and most importantly, whatever this is. I then brought some of the animations into Blender and absolutely demolished its entire spot so it wouldn't move out of its position, because we wouldn't want that now, would we? Now, I want to make this game without using many tutorials, so I brought the animations into Unreal Engine and... you know that tutorial rule? Screw that. So I watched a Gorka Games video on animating my player and adding a player control and a whole bunch of other starter things because, yeah, I sort of forgot how to do that. But after that, I put away the YouTube so that most of the combat system is my own, without the help from tutorials. So I made a bunch of input actions and made it so that when one was called, it would play a random attack animation and put out a sphere trace, detecting any enemies and dealing damage. But this only works when there are enemies which currently don't exist. So I duplicated my player model and absolutely demolished all the code so that it could be an enemy. And then I made a health variable and made whenever the enemy detects damage, it decreases the health variable and plays a random hit react animation, which actually works very well and it's very satisfying to execute. But currently you are so powerful that the enemy just can't fight back. And even though it's pretty cool if you ask me, I should probably make it, a little more fair. So I made it when the player was in range, the enemy would play an attack animation and set out a sphere trace just as the player did. And I also made it so the enemy can't get hit while it's attacking to encourage players to parry. But currently there is no parry, so when the enemy attacks you, you're pretty much dead. Which is pretty realistic for people like me, but video games are about doing things you can't do in real life, like making coffee, slaying dragons, flipping a light switch, and most importantly, beating up a guy, which is the most unrealistic thing you could possibly do. So I added the parry, which staggers the enemies so you can hit him until he turns into a ragdoll and dies, which looks totally normal, nothing buggy or anything about this, so I can stop worrying about it. And right now, the game just consists of a parry followed by a series of attacks, so I thought I would add to it, starting with more animations. I downloaded some additional hit react animations from Mixmo and added that could occur with the enemy being hit. And now the game looks a lot more satisfying and feels much better beating the living daylights out of this poor, ruthless, whatever you call this thing. The next thing I decided to add was a finisher, which I had no idea how I was supposed to do this, so I watched the Gorka Games video on how to make an assassination, and then added my own code to make it detect when the enemy is low, which took a whole bunch of cool calculations, because I'm pretty good at math. Guys, so if 9 plus 90 is 99, right? Then how come 9 plus 9 isn't 9.9? Make it make sense. When the enemy's health is low enough to apply the finisher, then and only then will it work. And it didn't work out too great. For some reason, the player doesn't have a head, but that's fine. And now the game still just sort of consists of a parry followed by more attacks, but hey, at least I tried. I then followed a quick tutorial by Smart Poly and created a quick test match with an auto material I found on the UE marketplace, and a tree pack to make this beautiful work on art, unless you don't go too far out, so don't do that. I placed a couple enemies inside the forest, and that concludes our adventure. Let me know if you want me to turn this into like a full game, and hopefully eventually release it or something. I don't know for sure, but I could definitely try. If I do work on it again, it won't be in the next video because I'm already working on another project, but let me know in the comments if finishing this game will be a project you would like to see in the future. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe down below. It really helps out smart creators like me, and I hope to see you in the next one.